Today we are going to find out if Pokemon Trainer Alain can beat Pokemon Brick Bronze. So when it comes to team building, Alain doesn't have too much Pokemon, and I've also noticed one thing. He has a lot of dark types. Originally, I only wanted to use this Kalos team, which consists of Charizard, Metagross, Tyranitar, Weavile, Bisharp, and Unfezant. But since Unfezant is not in this game, I will have to choose Chestnut. Since Malamar is also a dark type, and yeah, with Malamar, I will be like overloaded with dark types. And y'all, right off the bat, I've already noticed one major thing, and it's that every single Pokemon that Alain has are physical attackers. And this might affect us quite a bit, but whatever. By the way, only 0.6% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. Also, this video took super long to make, so if you enjoy content like this, please like and subscribe. It will help the channel out a lot. Let's get into the video. First battle against Jake. You guys already know how it goes. His Eevee only has like 3 moves: Growl, Tackle, and Tail Whip. All you really gotta do is just spam one move and then you should be able to beat him. As long as he doesn't hit you with like 2 Tail Whips and start tackling you. Against the Brick Girl, I found this battle surprisingly easy. A lot of new players find this battle quite difficult, because for some reason this Pancham would just not use Arm Thrust, which is his best move, and yeah, I just chipped him down with Embers. And I did actually get a burn with Ember, which I did not know that can happen, because I've never seen Ember burn an opponent before. Against the first gym leader, I made super easy work of him. Let me tell you guys this, Charmander is probably one of the best starters for Pokemon Brick Bronze, because when he evolves into Charmeleon, he gets Dragon Rage, and Dragon Rage always does 40 damage, which can pretty much get you through the first 3 gyms of the game. I also went ahead and traded myself a chest pin. I was originally trying to buy one, but then purchases are currently broken, so yeah. Going against Team Eclipse, I was actually pretty scared since he had a tanky as Volibee and a Lunatone, which is a rock type, but then none of that matters when you got Dragon Rage. Against the second gym, I guess I had a little bit too much confidence in my Quilladin, and I thought I could knock down the Litleo with a rollout, but no, I got knocked out. So Charmeleon came in, Dragon Rage the whole way through. Against the Growlithe, he really did not do anything. I guess you can never go wrong with the Intimidate, and he did hit me with a pretty good overheat. Magmar came out, he hit me with a huge overheat which took me under half, but thankfully he didn't go for a second one, he went for Flame Burst, which secured me the win. This next battle against Team Eclipse, it was super easy. Both my Charmeleon and my Quilladin had already fully evolved, and so there was literally no struggle. And this scene right here will always be one of my favorite scenes in Pokemon Brick Bronze, just look at Jake and his little freaky ass.
He a fan, 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 he a...
Heading on to the third gym, I found no difficulty with this gym at all. Like I said, if you do not have like a grass type or an electric type, you may find a little bit of struggle since these Pokemons are pretty tanky. I one-shotted every single Pokemon of his with just C-Bomb alone. This gym battle though, low-key showed me to not sleep on Chestnut because he was kind of tough. Alright, so next is the battle against Jake after Tess instigated him. And see, when you get instigated, and especially when you lose, in front of the girls too, you know, in front of the huzz, oh yeah, you know, it's about time to crash out. Like literally after this fight right here, our relationship changed. Me and Jake, right? We were childhood best friends, you know? But then, man, come on, Tess. And not gonna lie, this is low-key why I hate Tess almost as much as I hate Sakura. Anyways, I totally no diff Jake. And y'all wanna know what else makes a man wanna crash out? When the huzz do better than you in the battles. Like Tess came in with a full team of dragons, and she did better than freaking Jake, bro. So now you're really thinking about it, Jake just got instigated, he lost, he got embarrassed, and then the huzz that he was trying to, you know, impress did better than he did. I then headed on to the next route where I found a Pawniard and caught him as the 3rd member of my team. After that, I went to Kragenose Mines and caught myself a Larvitar as well, making him the 4th member of my team, which surprisingly did not take that long to find, as Larvitar is the most rare Pokemon to find in the cave. Going on to the 4th gym, this gym was actually kind of hard, as my Pokemons who were capable of battling was a Charizard, who really didn't do that much damage, and a Chestnut who is ×4 weak to flying types. My Pawniard and my Larvitar, which I believe evolved into a Pupitar already by then, they were definitely not strong enough to fight yet. And then this actually just reminded me of one thing. From this comment right here, this dude is absolutely correct. Level 50 in the 4th gym is crazy level curve. For some odd reason, I don't know why, but then I sent out my Pawniard. I think I just wanted some XP, and I got one-shotted by Fire Fang. I then sent out Chestnut to hit him with 1 C-Bomb, which kills him. I again switched out Chestnut to Charizard so that I don't get intimidated by Staraptor, which I was able to 2-shot with Flamethrower and Wing Attack. His last Pokemon was a Braviary, I took it down to half with Flamethrower, and 1 Crush Claw almost killed me. But regardless, we pulled through. I was able to defeat the gym and got myself the 4th gym bag. Against Professor Cypress, again this battle was super easy as long as you have a fire, water, or grass type. you were able to defeat him since he only has starters. My Charizard one-shotted this Venusaur. His next Pokemon was a Feraligatr, so I switched into my Chestnut and also one-shotted him with Seed-Bomb. Next was a Blaziken, which I was actually surprised that I was not able to one-shot with Wing Attack. He hit me with the Brave Bird, which took him all the way to 1 HP, and I finished him off with one more Wing Attack. And then he sends out Torterra, which I already knew cannot do anything to hurt my Charizard, so I one-tapped it with Flamethrower. Next up was the Samurai, which I think is a pretty interesting choice of Pokemon. Regardless, he got no disc. His last Pokemon was a Delphox, and I sent out my Absol just because I wanted to see the Mega Evolution. Delphox also met the same fate as the other Pokemons and bit the curb in 4K. Hey, but tell me in the comments if you guys actually like Delphox's design, because I definitely did not like it. We then went and tried to stop this terrorist from blowing up the whole entire city, but unfortunately for him, I used to be a Master Ninja Diffuser, and my Charizard and Chestnut diffused every single bomb with one move. On the 5th gym battle, since his whole team is ground type, I was ready to set up for a sweep, so I was able to get off not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 bulk ups with the trade-off of a speed drop. And then I was ready to cash this boy out. I one-shotted the Quagsire with 1 Seed Bomb. His next Pokemon was a Steelix. I damn near one-shotted with a Brick Break, which he was lucky enough to have sturdy, and I killed it with another one. His Claydol came out, got me low, one-shotted him with a Seed Bomb. Excadrill came out, I healed myself because I knew he was faster. He used a Next Scissor, which did nothing. He then went to a Metal Claw, which also did nothing, and I one-shotted him with a Brick Break. His last Pokemon was a Garchomp, and you guys already know how this went. He Mega Evolved his Garchomp. I was not scared of a Fire Fang because I knew that Chestnut had a pretty good defense. His Fire Fang did no damage, and I one-shotted it with 1 Wood Hammer. For the 6th gym, like the last one, I was ready to run his pockets. He sent out a Levani, 1 Flamethrower destroyed it because he was ×4 weak to fire. Next up, he sent out a Tropius, and I Mega Evolved just so I have more damage with the Tough Claws and Fire Fang. If you guys don't know, Tough Claws does more damage on contact moves. Next is a Breloom, one-shotted it with Fire Fang. Next up, he sends out a Roserade, and again, of course, I one-tapped it with 1 more Fire Fang. Next was his Tangrowth, and this time, instead of going Fire Fang, I actually went for Flamethrower, since I know that Tangrowth has more defense than his special defense. His last Pokemon was a Mega Venusaur. I then chose Fly, because I knew that Mega Venusaur's ability is Thick Fat, which has the damage of Fire and Ice types. So I was hoping that I could one-shot him with the Fly, but I guess I couldn't, and so I finished him off with the last Fire Fang. Again, y'all, this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire game because this pretty much solidifies Jake as one of the biggest crash out in fiction. In this rival battle, of course, Jake sends out his Zebstrika. I was looking for a clean sweep. I Mega Evolved my Charizard and one-tapped the Zebstrika. His next Pokemon was the Nidoking. And not gonna lie, I low-key griefed it. I think a Fire Fang would have killed it with Stab and Tough Claws, but I chose Slash instead. For some reason, I always forget that he has a Slowbro, so I had to switch out. Went for my Bisharp and took it down with 2 Night Slash. Alright, and so his next Pokemon is an Arcanine. I could have stayed and got that Intimidate for my Defiant boost, but I wanted some XP on Pupitar, so I switched out and tried to use Rock Slide. He used Roar, switched me back to my Bisharp. I switched back to the Pupitar, and this part kind of took me a little while to take down the Arcanine. He was a little tanky. Arcanine is a natural bulk, but yeah, I eventually took him down with a couple more Rock Slides. His last Pokemon is of course his Vaporeon, which I demolished because my Chestnut has way bigger balls than his Vaporeon. Before heading to the next city, I went ahead and found myself a Buildum, which took me about like a cool 30 minutes. And this took me a pretty long time to catch. I think it took me like over 20 Pokeballs. I eventually caught the Buildum, giving us our 5th team member. Afterwards, I went ahead and traded myself a Sneasel because again, purchases were broken, so I would not be able to buy myself a Razor Claw to evolve my Sneasel. And also, Sneasel does not like learn any Ice type moves. If anything, he learns some very bad ones, so I had to trade myself a Sneasel that actually has some good Ice moves. For the 7th gym leader, I totally forgot that he was gonna send out a Honchkrow at first. His Honchkrow used Swagger, which boosted my attack up by 2, but also confuses me. I unfortunately hit myself, and 1 foul play knocked me out. That BS totally caught me off guard. I sent him my Bisharp. He used for the dance, which lowers my attack, but Defiant comes in clutch and boosted my attack instead, which I knocked out the Honchkrow. His next Pokemon was a Crocodile. I could have stayed in for another Defiant boost, but I was kind of scared that he was going to outspeed me and one-shot me with the Earthquake, so I instead brought in Chestnut and knocked it out with 2 C-Bombs. Next up was the Bisharp. I stayed in, 1 Brick Break, totally destroyed it. Since Bisharp is ×4 weak to fighting types. His next Pokemon was an Umbreon. I decided to switch out because I already got intimidated once, so I was sure that I won't be able to one-shot the Umbreon. Sitting at the Metagross, almost took it out with 1 Hammer Arm, so I had to hit it with 1 Meteor Mash. This dude for real gonna have 2 Crocodiles with Intimidate. Like that's hella cheese. So yeah, knocked his ass out with 1 Wood Hammer. His final Pokemon was a Mega Houndoom, who is damn near useless against Tyranitar. He went for a Sludge Bomb, which barely took anything, and I one-shot it with a Rock Slide, securing me the win. Going into this battle against Tess, I was super ready to just one-shot every single Pokemon. Garchomp used Crunch, did not do any damage. I used Triple Axle, one-tapped it. Her next Pokemon was a Salamence. Even with Intimidate, I still O-coded it with Triple Axle. Her next Pokemon was a Haxorus, and of course, my Weavile was a goat. I one-shotted it with the Triple Axle again. At this point, I was so sure that I was gonna beat her whole team with just my Weavile alone. Her Judgment came out, he weaved my Triple Axle and one-shotted me with an Outrage. I then sent out Metagross just so that I could get some XP. One Zen Headbutt flinched him. He got confused. Another Zen Headbutt secured the kill. Her last Pokemon was an Altaria, which has got to be her weakest Pokemon by far. She used a Moonblast, it did nothing. I used one Zen Headbutt and then finished out with a Meteor Mash. For the final Jake battle, I one-shotted both his Zepstrika and his Nidoking with one Earthquake. His Slowbro was as useless as ever, and so my Tyranitar took it out with 2 crunches. At this point, I realized that Jake's whole team was weak to Tyranitar, so I just stayed in. Even with the Intimidate, I almost took him out with one Rock Slide. He used the Extreme Speed, which did nothing, and then another Rock Slide secured the kill. Next was the Delmice. I took it down to 1 HP with 1 crunch. His Energy Ball did do a surprising amount of damage, but it was all to no avail. His last Pokemon was a Vaporeon, so I decided to not take any more time, and so I sent out my Green Armadillo to finish the job with 1 Wood Hammer. For this last battle against Professor Cypress, I was ready to just demolish him and take my parents back, and like I just hate this fool so much. Like Bucket Hat Splash said, I hate the way that you talk, I hate the way that you walk, I hate the way that you dress. You're not a crook, son, you just a shook one. He sent out his Incineroar and I bopped it with 1 Rock Slide. I was actually surprised though, since Incineroar is a natural bulk. Next was the Giga Chad Napoleon, which actually ate a C-Bomb from my Chestnut. I then sent out my Charizard, Mega Evolved it, and forced this Grass Lizard to shed his skin early. His final Pokemon was also a Mega Charizard X, but the difference is, mine is cooler and a lot manlier, so I utterly destroyed it with 1 Dragon Claw. And now for the final gym battle. She sends out a Gengar, I sent out my Weavile, and he got jumped by Arbido. Next was her Decidueye, who also got styled on by my Weavile's Triple Axle. She then sends out Spiritomb, which I responded with my Bisharp. I knew the Spiritomb is a tank, so I went for a Swords Dance, went for an Iron Head, and merely rocked it. Next up was the Miss Magius. She used Ground, which procs my Defiant and gave me attack boost, and 1 Night Slash took her out. Then she sends out a H Slash. Now for this, I pretty much lost to my own mind games. I used the Swords Dance because I was so sure that this H Slash was gonna use King's Shield, but then instead, he used Sacred Sword and slapped the heck out of my Bisharp. My Charizard then came in, Mega Evolved, and then Revenge killed it with a Flare Blitz. Her final Pokemon was a sorry ass Mega Sableye, which I took it down to half with Dragon Claw and then finished it off with a Flare Blitz, securing me the final gym badge. And then before I entered the Elite Four, Tess really came up behind me and told me that she wanted to see if I was ready for the Elite Four, as if I did not literally beat her every single time we battle. Her Salamence absolutely gets embarrassed by my Weavile even after Intimidate. I sent out my Charizard against her Haxorus, Mega Evolved, one-tapped it with a Dragon Claw. Her Renegade came out, same thing, one-tapped it with a Dragon Claw. And then she sends out a Flygon. I do not know where she's trying to go with this. She literally has 3 Pokemon that are 4 times weak to ice. Her final Pokemon is a Mega Altaria, who got obliterated by my Weavile. Against the first Elite Four member, I did not think it was going to be as hard as it was. So he starts off with a Ferrothorn. I automatically Mega Evolved my Charizard. I one-tapped the Ferrothorn with my Fire Punch. He sends out an H Slash. I took it way down below half. Took it to below half with 1 Fire Punch. He used a Flash Cannon, which did nothing, and I killed it with a Dragon Claw. Next up was an Excadrill, and I was so sure that I would outspeed this Excadrill, which I didn't, and he was able to kill me with a Earthquake. I sent out my Chestnut. I used Brick Break. He used Rock Slide. He flinched me. I used Brick Break again. I didn't kill him, and then 1 more Brick Break was able to deal the final blow. He then sends out the Satan Worshipper Jirachi with Serene Grace and Iron Head, and he would just spam this move the whole entire day. He knocked out my Tyranitar. He hit 2 Iron Head in a row, and so now I was just trying to test my luck, and I just kept on using Earthquakes, and he kept on flinching me. He flinched me like 5 times or 6 times. So I was like, alright, I'm gonna have to switch out. So I decided to switch out to my Bisharp and then used a knockoff to kill it. And guess what? He was holding a Choice Scarf. His final Pokemon was a Mega Metagross, and honestly, I wasn't even that stressed about it. I just revived my Charizard, sacrificed my Chestnut. I was able to avoid a Meteor Mash, so I was able to hit my Charizard with 1 more Hyper Potion. I came back and one-shot it with a Flare Blitz. Next Elite Four member was the Ice type trainer. He sends out a Alola Ninetales. I sent out my Metagross. I used a Meteor Mash. I missed. He used a Moonblast. He did quite a bit of damage. and then I killed him with 1 meter mash. His next Pokemon is the Titan. I decided to go with the Hammer Arm again. I missed. I just spammed my Hammer Arm until I hit once. I hit him, took him all the way to 1 HP. I switched out to my Charizard, and then defeated him with 1 Fire Punch. But not after he just absolutely outsped and did a heck ton of damage to my Charizard. He brought out Mamoswine, I brought out my Chestnut, he missed the Icicle Crash. I used 1 Bulk Up, he used the Knockoff to knock off my item, and then I knocked it out with the Brick Break. He then brings out a Kyurem, and I actually forgot that he has a Kyurem. But instead of going for a Dragon Dance, he decided to use an Outrage, which I was able to survive 2, and then secure the kill with 2 Brick Breaks. He sends out his last Pokemon, which was a Mega Glalie, and I was so sure that I would be able to tank this double edge from his Glalie since I was a fire type, but I forgot that Refrigerate actually gives him ×2 stab instead of 1.5, but then my Bisharp came in and was able to finish the job, securing me the second win. Against the third Elite Four member, this one was actually really easy. He sent out a Toxicroak and my Metagross Zip Headbutt one-shotted it. His next Pokemon was an Annihilate. I decided I wanted to go for a Mega Charizard X Fly for that Tough Claws boost, but I forgot that I do not have stab, so I did not one-shot it. He used Bulk Up, he got a little greedy, and 1 Fire Punch knocked it out. His next Pokemon was a Breloom, and I thought a Fly Wasp would kill it as well, but he survived with 1 HP because he had a Focus Sash. My Fire Punch was able to knock it out. His next Pokemon was the Terrakion, and at this point I didn't really know what I was gonna do because I forgot. I knew the Terrakion was a fighting type, but I forgot if he was a rock type or he was just a pure fighting type. So I was just going with whatever I got. I got knocked out. I set up my Chestnut, and then again I was still like debating what I would use. And then I just did a C-Bomb, which knocked it out. His last Pokemon was a Mega Heracross. Again, as you can see here, I did not know who I was gonna send out. So I decided I'm just gonna max revive my Charizard so that I have backup. He Mega Evolves. He did Rock Blast. It did stupendous amount of damage, especially because I'm a rock type and I am also under the Sandstorm. He knocked me out with a close combat, and then I sent out my Charizard to finish the job. For the final Elite Four member, this guy was actually the easiest one since my whole team was like made up of Dark type. My Weavile one-shotted his Indeedee. He brings out Armarouge. I took out my Tyranitar. He used Stored Power, which did no damage. I used Rock Slide. He lived with 1 HP, and then I used 1 more Crunch. Oh, I actually almost died with that freaking Aura Sphere that he used, whatever he did. He brings out his Hatterene. I took out my Bisharp. 1 Iron Head, took her to 1 HP. And then that final Night Slash just to disrespect. She then sends out her legendary, which was a Mew. I used Knockoff, took her to 1 HP again. She used Sword Dance for some reason, and then I knocked her out with Night Slash. Her final Pokemon was a Mega Alakazam, and I sent out my Weavile. My Weavile for this battle was the GOAT. He literally outsped the Mega Alakazam and one-shot it with Beat Up. And alright, for this final champion battle, I'm not gonna speed it up. I'm just gonna comment over it because it was actually pretty cool. So he sends out his Glimmora. I sent out my Metagross. So I knew that this Glimmora has Earth Power, but my mindset was if I use the Earthquake on it, take it down to 1 HP. When he used Toxic Debris, it's not gonna affect me because I'm a Steel type, right? Poison does not affect Steel type. But I guess it doesn't matter anyways. And so right here I was just thinking who I want to send out. If I want to send out my Charizard to be immune to that Earth Power. But I knew if I sent out my Charizard I was going to get outsped and his Power Gem was going to for sure one-shot my Charizard. So I instead took out my Chestnut. He used Earth Power, did no damage. He did get the defense drop. I'm pretty sure I went for a Brick Break here. He then went for a Mortal Spin, which really didn't do any damage to me. A Brick Break knocked it out. He activated his Toxic Debris again. I think that ability is like one of the most broken one out of all the Pokemon abilities. His next Pokemon was a Rotom Wash, I think. Yeah. So he sends out a Rotom Wash, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just Wood Hammer and see how much damage I do. He used Hydro Pump. He missed his first Hydro Pump. My Wood Hammer knocks him out. Oh, I didn't knock him out. What the hell? Yeah, I took him to like 1 HP. And then right here, I was like hoping he would not hit another he would not hit a hydro pump. Cause if he didn't hit this hydro pump, this game was like for sure set for me. But he did. And right here, I'm pretty sure I took out my Weavile. Yeah, my Weavile had heavy duty boots because I traded it to myself as well. My Weavile came in clutch. I used knockoff to for sure kill this Rodon. Knocked it out. And then his next Pokemon. So out of his whole entire kit, I think his Landorus is the most troublesome one that he has. And like, since my whole team is full of physical attackers, I was for sure like, I was scared that I was not gonna be able to one-shot this Landorus. But surprisingly, my Weavile was able to just knock this thing out. This little damage thing was like a little bugged when you use a multi-hit on a Pokemon with Rocky Helmet. It seems like you lose, or like your HP is dropping, but it really isn't. It's just a bug. So yeah, I one-shot this Landorus, even with the Intimidate. I bring out my Tyranitar, he brings out his Heatran. I knew that his Heatran can do nothing against this Tyranitar. So then I used Earthquake, which is ×4, super effective against his Heatran. He used Earth Power, did 0 damage. Earthquake one-shots this Heatran, easy. His next Pokemon was a Gholdengo, and I sent out my Bisharp. I already knew like Bisharp is just the perfect counter to Gholdengo. All he has is Hex, probably like, what was it? Make it rain, and then recover. He used Hex, did no damage. I used a knockoff. I was actually really surprised I did not one-shot this. It was super effective, but I guess Gholdengo is a pretty natural bulk. And then right here, I was anticipating like a recover, but I outsped it for some reason. I don't know what he went for, but I outsped the Gholdengo. I completely knocked it out. And then right here was his last Pokemon. At this point, I already knew I was gonna win. Like, I only lost one Pokemon, and he's already at his last Pokemon. I sent out my Charizard. I was really hoping for this Charizard to defeat the Salamence, you know, just for the cool lore. I used a Dragon Claw and literally did 0 damage to him. For some reason, I don't know, like my attack was pretty high. He used a Dragon Dance, and I was like, ah, damn, like this might, he might just be able to sweep with this. I don't know, for some reason I just went for a Flare Blitz, but a Facade did a lot of damage. My Flare Blitz did no damage to him at all, and I knocked myself out. I left myself with 1 HP, and then he outsped me with 1 more Facade, which knocked me out. And right here I was like, alright, I'm gonna send my Weavile. Hopefully I outspeed this dude and just one-shot him. And I'm like, okay, Ice Shard should do enough damage, but it does not do enough damage. He's literally ×4 weak to ice, and he did not die from that. But then he used a Double Edge, which he knocked himself out, and that secures me the win. And here is a little endgame recording from my gameplay. Hell yeah, that was way easier than my last run. I guess Alain's team is OP. You know, I definitely knew that it was gonna be a lot easier, just because he has more broken Pokemons. And so, can Alain beat Pokemon Brick Bronze? Absolutely he can. Alright, Charles, and that'll be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below if you guys would like to see more Pokemon Brick Bronze challenge. But yeah, I mean, not saying that I'm gonna make one right away, cause yeah, this one took a lot longer than the one I did before, since I am currently working now. So yeah, I'm not gonna make another Pokemon Brick Bronze run for a while. But yeah, it's still, you know, you can still subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Joss.